Didn't even say hi to you.
That's okay. I came in kind of late. I'll turn the phone, make it easier for you to hear. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our meeting. This is the open meeting, regular open meeting of the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. It's Tuesday, July 11th, 9:30. We're in the boardroom in Laguna Woods, and this is the notice of the meeting and agenda. Purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular United Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with Civil Code 4920. So I'm calling the meeting to order, and we do have a quorum. And do we have everyone that's on Zoom can hear us? Just to make sure, do we have two people on Zoom or one person on Zoom?
Yes, President Ross, good morning, everyone. I can hear you.
We can't hear you, but we can.
Yes, President Ross, I can hear you.
Yeah, we could barely hear you.
Oh.
Okay, that's better.
Unfortunate. I don't know what to do.
Now we can hear you. Now we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom? That's it, just as our. Okay. I thought maybe Sue might be on Zoom, but I guess she's not. Okay, so I'd like to acknowledge, first, Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to lead the Pledge of Allegiance, if you all would stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Now, acknowledgement of the media. Do we have media here today? No, I don't think so. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? Any adjustments of it? Tom?
Yes, I'd like to move 11B3 off of the consent agenda.
11B3. Do we need to take a vote for that, or what's the process for removing something off the agenda?
You would just approve the amended agenda.
Okay. 11B3. And you're saying because we're not ready to, we want to talk about that separately, is that right?
That's correct.
Where do you want to move it?
Yeah, where do you want to move it? Good question. To
12
new business
or 13?
It would be new business, I would.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
13F?
Yep.
All right, so let's, 11B3 is now
13F.
13F. Okay. Any other changes?
Question,
Maggie?
are we well lit here?
I'm sorry?
Are we lighted up here?
Oh, we light it up. Yeah, I think we got lights.
I don't know what it looks like on TV. There we go.
I think we're paying our electric bills, so, oh,
There
there it
we
is,
go.
much better. Good point. Now we can see, good. Thank you, Maggie. If without any changes, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended? So moved. Okay, and seconded by Cash. Okay, it's approved. Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes for June 13th, June 22nd, and June 29th. Are there any changes to any of those minutes? Yeah, Maggie.
Just a typo on Tuesday, June 13th. It's page 3 of 14 on 5A. It's just the top line. It says, Director Blackwell assisted the member who relayed concerns regarding foreclosure items, directed the member. At the very first line on page 3 of 14, foreclosure stamps directed the member. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, I don't know where that's at. Oh, okay, directed. Okay, thank you. Any other changes to any of the agendas? Okay.
I move the minutes be approved as amended by Director Blackwell.
Okay, thank you. And seconded. Second by Pearl? Okay, so it's approved as amended, without objection. Okay. Diane?
Yeah, I do have a problem with, oh, never mind, it's going to happen a little later, I think. It's a, let's see, it's on 1B. So where is that coming up? 1B. I don't know, there's just a ad hoc committee report in here that I don't agree with, so I don't know where that comes into play.
Okay, let's wait till we get to it, and then we can
Okay.
talk about it. How's that? Okay. So now I'd like to give my report of the chair, and a couple things I wanted to talk about. One is we are in the midst of our budget discussions for 2024. We're about halfway through the process, and I would welcome all the residents, all the members, to come to these meetings. These are all open meetings, and we'll be deciding on the association dues for 2024 within the next 3 to 4 months, and it'll be finalized. And so we ask for people, all people are welcome, but if you have financial or budgeting experience in your careers and you wanted to share that with us, we would value your input to come to these meetings. And you might have some great ideas for us to consider that we're not considering currently, because we have some deep challenges that we're facing for this year. One of the challenges, for example, is the ever-increasing cost of property insurance. And because of the wildfires that have happened in Southern California, all over the country for that matter, it's compounded by insurance companies that are pulling out of the state of California. And all of that being said, it's increasing our property insurance by about $1 million every year for the last several years. And we're trying to do our best we can, come up with ideas on how to combat that, but it's a very difficult issue. We're also working with VMS, and VMS is working very hard to try to, and they've done their great diligence in seeing what they could do to reduce the costs of employee expenses, benefits, because that's our number one cost in our budget. And they are on a downward trend on the number of employees, full-time employees. So this is good. They're looking at departments closely. They're looking at what can be done to reduce expenses. And we're challenging them on a regular basis to see what they can do better. So it's all part of the process. And but we do welcome your input. And if you have ideas you'd like to help us, we would love to hear them. So come to our meetings, and they're all posted on the website. The second thing I'd like to talk about is just what I've been talking about ever since we started. And we'd like to keep the professionalism of this meeting consistent. And so we're going to have members come up before us and do speeches and input to us. And we want everything to be done in a professional manner, not only with our board's members, but also with you. And so we want the meeting to run as professionally and smoothly as possible. So we ask that there not be any shouting, disrupting, and any kind of activities like that. So, and you all know how to do that. And I have complete confidence that this will be a very well-run meeting. So thank you. With that, I'm going to, good point. We do have a new board member, and I'd like to welcome her. She's Vidya Kale, and so she just joined us when one of our other board members resigned, and that was Mary Simon. So Vidya comes with us with a lot of qualifications, and please welcome her to our United Board. Thank you. Okay, let's start with the open forum. 3 minutes per speaker. So do we have any people that would like to speak?
Yes, the first speaker is Miss Julian Godwin. Okay.
Good morning. Judy Godwin, 4588. Like so many people in the village, I love gardening, and I have a gardener who helps me maintain the health and the grooming aspect of my plants. My pride and joy is a hydrangea that's taken years to develop, and it's very full, and it has blooms from top to bottom. And people often ask me if they can have a bouquet, and I'm more than happy to oblige them. Another happy aspect I have of living where I do is there's a little humming that made a nest on a tiny twig on a hibiscus bush right outside my kitchen window, about this far. And she's right there. I can't see into the nest, but I can see her when she's on it. And she doesn't seem to mind when I come into the kitchen, turn on the light, make a lot of noise. And my friends and my family, they were all asking, what's happening? Because we're waiting for the chicks to come. And she just was right there. When I was at the sink, she was just inches from my nose. On January 7th, I left my unit to go to an appointment, and there were workers around, but I was assuming that they were there to pick up the debris from the previous day, so I didn't think anything. I came back, and my hydrangea was completely destroyed. All the branches on the side were cut, and they were cut low, like this, from the ground. And nothing was left except the top. Now, mind you, the hydrangea was mine. I planted it. I took care of it. The workers were still there. And I said, why? And they kept saying, this is what we were told to do. This is what we were told to do. And I said, did you have any training? Were there any supervisors? Now, there was a time when supervisors went out with the crew. I've been here for a while. And they wore a different colored vest. And they would lay out the job. Then the workers would do the job. Then the supervisor would come to see if it was done right. And if it wasn't done right, they would correct it. And apparently no supervisors now. I later talked to a representative from the office that sent out these workers. And I was told that's what they were told to do. That's what they were told to do. So I had no business questioning. And when I asked the same question, have they had training? Are there supervisors? No money for training, no money for supervisors. Then when I went back into the kitchen and I was looking out the window, it looked like something was amiss with the little hummingbird nest. So I went out to look, and I was always avoiding going near her because I didn't want to scare her. And sure enough, somebody had clipped the tiny twig. No need to clip it. They clipped the tiny twig where the little hummer nest was, and then I guess realizing that they had done something really horrendous, they put it back on and they tried to wire it back on. And there was no sign of the hummingbird, of any eggs or any chicks. I mean, it was something that couldn't be corrected. And she was a delight.
We're kind of running out of time. Could you wrap it up?
Okay, I filed a form asking that the workers no longer come to my unit. I will take care of it because I can't stand that heartbreak and the threat of coming back to such destruction, wanton destruction.
Okay, thank you. We'll respond to you after we listen to all the members. We'll have a response to you. Any other members?
Yes, the next speaker is Ann Beltran.
Good morning, Ann Beltran, 8540. Thank you for the work you do by serving on this board. My request today is that during your town hall discussion, you consider the idea of a joint town hall with joining United with Third on the issue of energy conservation. And my reasons for this include things like Bart Mejia has stated in meetings I've attended that it is a solid assumption that our energy costs will increase on an average of 5% a year. Then in my Southern California Edison bill, I got the proposed rates for the coming year, and they're proposing for 2025 a 10.6% increase on residential rates. And then you have the fact that many people who live here already cannot even read their Southern California Edison bill and understand how to respond to things like tiered systems and time of use and so on. So I think it would be a great service to the community if you would elevate the issue of energy conservation to a town hall. And, the better the speakers are, maybe the better quality information. So that's why I'm suggesting a joint town hall, because, together I think the village has some power, and we could command the attention of some experts for a panel to discuss these things. In addition, people, once they get clear on what the future is about their individual electricity rates, well, then they want to figure out what to do next and how to save money. And January 1, a federal tax credit went into effect that will be in effect for several years that's pretty substantial on heat pumps. And then there are other energy conservation methods and so on. There's the whole topic of solar and getting rid of gas, and so that brings up EVs. There's a document online called Pathway 2045 by Edison. It's very easy to Google and get to it. It's an extremely detailed and specific vision of the future and what we're facing and how SCE plans to decarbonize and change the grid and what ratepayers might be paying in the future. And so all of these topics are worthy bringing to the village attention because especially of the fact that we are individually paying for electricity. It would help everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Maxine McIntosh.
Good morning. I'm always so happy to see everyone here, staff and board, knowing that you're putting in your time to keep our lives as good as they are and better. Thank you very much. Hearing even some of my neighbors complaining, oh, prices are too high, we need to get things down and so forth, reminded me of when my husband and I moved here 30 years this month. And my husband said, I think we're ready to move. And we were in a big, like a lot of you probably were, 2-story house. We thought we were smart 30 years before that by buying the largest lot on the street. Well, when you get older, that's a lot to take care of, even when you hire people to help you. And he said, I'll make a list. And I noticed him visiting a friend at an assisted living unit not far from here a couple of weeks ago, that they hand out a list in trying to talk people to move in and buy one of their units. And they have a list of everything they provide at no additional cost. And then they have a list for you to put down what you're taking care of here and what your cost is. And it really lowers the overall cost a lot. And that's what my husband did. He made these 2 comparison lists. And he said, honey, I think we'll save about $650 a month, starting right away when we moved to what was then Leisure World. That was 1993. And I hope when people are coming and they're offering their ideas to the budget committee and so forth, that they really are helpful to you and not just complaining about prices going up. We think of all our current expenses that I know we had to take care of in our house and no longer had to when we came here immediately. I've never met anyone who said they didn't save some money when they moved here. We had been there just long enough. We were having to replace the roof, a long, steep driveway that went down the hill out to the street, the entire driveway. And of course, the painting in a 2-story building costs more than a 1-story, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And even though we liked doing a lot of the gardening, we had to have a gardener to shape it up, make it look better. It's just a time for all of us to really appreciate what we have for, $720 a month about. I am really impressed. I put it that way, I've been through working with, appreciating a lot of general managers in those years. And Saban is my favorite. And I don't mind saying that. I think with the savings, I keep reading of the savings, you do too, I know, that they have brought to all of us. And all of us in the mutual, I think as long as we remember that we're in a mutual, that helps. Mutually kind to each other, mutually sharing information, mutually taking responsibility by at least watching a meeting at home, if not coming to see one in person. So I hope there'll be many people there to help you at the budget time. I'm now the driver for my husband, so I'm afraid you don't see me as often as you used to because he wants to go in that little red car every day. But thank you very much. I know you've got a big job ahead of you. I've been there, and I really appreciate it. And I want everyone here to remember in our village that everyone on our board also lives in the mutual. Every decision they make and the staff makes affects every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine.
All right, the next one's going to be an email from Chris Collins. Chris Collins, 3306Q. I'm here with an update on the work of the foundation on behalf of residents of Laguna Woods experiencing temporary financial crisis. Foundation update, new initiative. Neighbors helping neighbors has long been the foundation of Laguna Woods' motto, and many know sometimes means expanding the concept of help. When it was learned that nearly half of the local ambulance calls were due to falls, the foundation began funding fall prevention classes and emergency response devices to assist residents. Another issue has also recently emerged, planning for the inevitable. For example, suddenly being admitted to the hospital without a medical directive can be can become a serious problem. Who will make decisions if you are not able? Who will provide your medical history? Who will assist with aftercare planning? Being prepared can make all the difference in emergencies, illness, and end-of-life experiences for ourselves and for our family and friends. But many of us are reluctant to make decisions, have conversations with loved ones and healthcare providers, and take financial and legal steps to plan for an uncertain future. Preparing a plan, though, can give you peace of mind, help ensure that your wishes are honored, and ease the burden of your loved ones. To begin the process of advanced planning, residents can request a copy of a booklet entitled 5 Wishes, which will introduce some of the issues involved from social services at 949-597-4267. These booklets were purchased by the Foundation to help residents. The Foundation of Laguna Woods Village is also starting a new initiative to help residents plan for the inevitable. The initiative will use classes with experts, television programs, and publications to explore the psychological health, financial and legal aspects of planning and to identify resources to assist with the process. Be on the lookout. This initiative will begin this summer. The programs will be publicized on Village Television and in Laguna Woods Globe and the Foundation website, which can be located at www.foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. Please consult the Foundation's website as well as for information about its many other activities, or contact the Foundation at 949-268-2246 or via email at foundation@comline.com with any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. So now response to forum speakers. Who would like to give a response? Maggie?
Thank you.
It is me, Director.
No, Maggie. Go ahead, Maggie.
That is me.
Maggie.
Thank you. For Joan,
Can I start reading?
No, Maggie.
Thank you.
That's the
For
floor.
Joan on 458A, what was done in the past can be done now, I believe, still. If you have a plant in your yard that you don't want disturbed, whether it's yours or theirs, I used to wrap a ribbon around it or a police tape where if I had any kind of ribbon or something around the plant, and then I'd hang a sign on it with a big circle with a line through it. And the gardeners will stay away from that. And so if you have a hummingbird again or anything, any special plant, you can try that. I think that's still in effect. I've done it for years. I haven't done it the last 2 years because there's nothing out there that I really love this time. And so, but just put a ribbon all the way around the plant, make it obvious, and just put a big sign with no. They wouldn't touch it up until, I haven't put it up the last year or so, but they won't touch it at that time. We'll have to check and see if that's still true.
Okay, I know that Azar wanted to speak. So, Azar, can you hear us? Are you still on there, Azar? Okay, let's go to Diane. Go ahead.
We used to have a yellow stake program where you put a yellow marker outside, but we don't have that anymore.
Right.
And to wrap something around a bush and put a big sign on it would look tacky, don't you think?
Well, you only have to do it the day before they're
Well,
coming.
you don't
can
always
see.
know. When she left, she didn't know they were going to come. So it's a problem.
It's published in the Globe. Thank you.
Okay. Well, anyway, I would say this does seem to be like a big issue. I mean, that they would come and do that. I mean, they're not supposed to take off flowers. That's something that has gone through recently, that they're not supposed to top trees or take off flowers when they're still flowering. So I don't know why they did that. And, that I'll have to talk to Kurt about that.
Okay, Shaban.
I do want to mention that we are launching a brand-new training program for our landscaping workers, so that will be a very positive step. I will be sharing more details with the board later today. But that's a very positive step, and we'll look into what happened in this particular occurrence, rather than debating it here at the dais. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And when you look into it, can you report back at our next meeting what transpired?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you could report to the resident as well. Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
I think that the town hall on the energy conservation is an excellent idea because it affects us every month. Our bills are going up, and it will affect every one of us. And I think it's also would be a very educational to us for us to find out like what time slot that charge less. They have a different rates for different plans, and of course it is all posted on their website, but we don't pay attention. So we can make a point of outlining those ideas, and so we can fight against the inflation. And the energy bills are going up every year, so I think that's a good time for us to start. Thank you very much for the suggestion.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea to have this group meeting, which could be, Lenny has talked about before, having it in the pack, and I mean, maybe even having a panel there that could help us with this increase in electricity and what's going to happen in the future. So I think it's a great idea. So I know we're going to be talking about town halls. Thank you.
Okay, so I had a comment. I think that is a great idea, and I welcome Ann. If you'd like to help us with that town hall, we would encourage you to help us with that because you have a wealth of information, and we're not supposed to have VMS employees at our town hall, so we're going to be trying to get the best people from SCE and other sources. So you're welcome to join us if we do decide to have that town hall, but I think it's a great idea to combine with Third and have the town hall from both sides, both perspectives. But we're going to talk about that at our town hall session. And also, I guess that was it. Yeah. Any other comments? Okay. Yeah, Pearl.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I have a short comment. In this members' comments, we always talk about problems, and I really appreciate Ms. McIntosh pointing us some of the positive things, because we do have a lot of things that are right. And of course, more things are wrong. So I really appreciate the positive feedback. Thank you.
Okay, now we had Director Ascari set to do the response to past open forums, but I don't know if we have her on. Oh,
Yes,
she's there.
I can.
Azar,
Yes.
can you go ahead?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. President. This is United members' comment. So the first one is Elizabeth Ramino, 2035A. She's asking about the follow-up on her harassment issue. She also mentioned about the missing money that needs to be audited. The response is, per compliance and security, there is no open harassment case right now, and there is no money missing. All financials are audited annually, and the findings are reported on to the residents. The next one is Mary Joyce Domingo, 2019A. She reported that she has been getting scam foreclosure notices as well as text messages. She is asking assistance how to stop this and wants to warn other residents. Response to Mary Joyce's by several directors was that she can report a scam to Secretary of State or Department of Housing or Department of Justice. Also, it was suggested that she can learn how to block scam messages on the phone and emails. The next one is Joe Morris, 392B. He talked about the crosswalk hazard in the corner of Via Estrada and Mallorca. He said that traffic needs to slow down in Gate 2. Mr. Eric, a director of security, said that this will be discussed on June 28th at the Security and Community Access Committee. The committee will take a look at the issue and provide ideas and possible solutions. The next one is Larry Iron, 6820. He wants the board to readdress the review and the electrical reimbursement policy, which currently is on fixed rate. The response is suggestion about reviewing the electrical reimbursement was forwarded to the United MNC Committee for consideration. And the last one that we have is Robert Reyes, 327A. He talked about how he enjoyed living here in the village. He is grateful for all the things that board members do for the residents. He thanked the board for doing a job, and director appreciate this response. And Grace Stencil, 806A, she talked about the lightening on the walkway and other area in the community. She wants to know how lightnings are being controlled. She noticed that some lights may be on at 24 hours and need to be checked so we do not waste electricity. The response per Mr. Barnett, MNC Assistant Director, all lighting in the United Mutual is controlled by photocell light sensor, eliminating staff needing to adjust this few times a year. He asked staff to respond to Code-SAG 91, 92, and 93 for her concern and recheck the system. This includes assessing any obstruction that would block lighting from triggering the photocells. And this was all for the last one. Mr. President, back to you.
Okay. I did have a question for you, Azar. I don't know if you mentioned it already, but there was a case of someone who had requested a lighting checkup in their area, and that was at our last month's meeting. And he was told that he was 3 on the list at the time, and it was going to be handled quite shortly. And I was just wondering if there's any update on his particular case. That came up last month at our meeting. Do you know, Shaban, if there's, or Azar, is there any mention of that in the meeting from last month?
Mr. President, the last one was regarding to lightning, that I had that issue that reported to Shaban that some places 24 hours or during the day the light is on. I'm not sure you are talking about that or other issue.
No, it's a different issue. It was 3 people that came in together, and they were asking for help with their request that they had submitted to help with their lighting in their cul-de-sac. And they were supposedly number 3 on the list, and they had submitted their request back in March. And they were supposed to get a response fairly soon. I was just...
Please let me check on that, and I'll get back to you hopefully later this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
And there was also a second request for putting some kind of a stop sign when you come into, I think it's gate 2, or some type, because it's a very dangerous intersection when you come in there. And they were supposed to go to a hearing at a committee meeting to talk about that, and that was supposed to have been scheduled last month. And so maybe you can let me know on that.
With regard to the lighting question, that came up at the MNC committee meeting, not at this meeting. And I'll get you an update on that nonetheless. And then the SCAC meeting was where the crosswalk was discussed.
That's
and
right.
that was a short while ago.
Could you let us know what happened with that, or?
Yes, I'll get you an update. I was looking to see if Mr. Nunez was here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on. Next item is VMS board update. So Director Robledo, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be here. I just have an update on VMS, the property manager for United and the Village. First slide, please. Over the past 6 months, a Bright Ideas program was developed to encourage staff to offer creativity from their own experience that is not associated with their regular job. And it's been very successful. We've had 3 awards issued so far, and the awards that are given out were $1,500, but the savings for the $1,500 were over $23,000. And there are more in the works, so I think the program's going really well. We're careful not to pay people for doing their own job, so these are ideas that come from employees that are not involved in the day-to-day, but they may have other experience that is valuable. An example of 2 of the awards, $2,000 was given for a water heater procurement process that is expected to save $25,000. A $1,000 award was given for the idea of having our employees pull the broadband cable instead of contracting it out. And these were vetted by the finance department and the management to make sure that there are true savings that come up, they're associated with that. There are 6 more in the works, and the board and staff are actually considering a way to bring in bright ideas from the residents without it being a full-time job evaluating them. So it's a balancing act to call for ideas and then not having the staff to go through them and vet them properly. So we're working on a pilot program to see how it goes, and that may come pretty soon. Next slide, please. This is an update on our vacancies and our staffing. We are making progress slowly. We track monthly the vacancies and the hires and the leaving, and this is a chart of that. So we currently have 60 vacancies within the organization. I believe there's like 800 employees, so we're at least not losing more than we're hiring. And I guess that's the first rule of holes. When you're in a hole, you stop digging. So we're getting there. And part of the solution is the utilization of resident employees for gate ambassadors and in the recreation department. Next slide, please. This is a win-win situation where people live here and they want something to do, and they're very good at it, very happy, and I think we all experience it when we come in the gates and see them working. And also for the clubhouses, when set up the rooms and things like that, things that can be done by our residents. So we're utilizing that, as well as looking at other ways of retaining employees through recognition programs and trying to adjust our salaries where there are inequities. So not only bringing in new blood, but also retaining. One thing that may help with the vacancies of the landscape department is the maintenance of the golf course. If there's a different arrangement for that, that would free up some employees to do manor maintenance versus the golf course maintenance. Any residents interested in the openings, there is a part-time admin specialist available, but it's posted on the Laguna Woods Village website under careers and residents. Next slide, please. I think it was mentioned earlier that VMS, and I appreciate the positive comments as well, VMS and the board and staff are constantly looking for efficiencies and ways to improve things. And one of the strategic objectives that came out of the strategic planning meeting was to look at our vacancies that we're holding and we're funding. So we're collecting money, but then it seems like the vacancies are always there, either because of turnover or because the function can be done with less people. And staff at the department level did do a top-down review of that, and 16 positions were identified that could be defunded in the 2024 budget. So that's flowing through. Next slide, please. So this shows how we're doing the same job. So one of the things we have to be careful is if you cut too much, then you don't get your services. So it's kind of like when you go into a restaurant and the price is the same, but the portions are smaller. That's so we're talking about efficiency to do more with less, and this shows a trend of what's been happening over the last 5 years. And as you can see, the 16 positions will save approximately $930,000. This is village-wide, though, so I don't have the amount that's going to be flowing through to United, but it is savings village-wide. Next, please. Another strategic objective was to get rid of what I call busy work or non-value-added work that takes staff time. An example would be preparing a report over and over again that's very time-consuming, that no one reads. And what the boards ask for is for a review or asking staff, what is it that you do that you don't think is valuable? And we've had a lot of suggestions, and by eliminating these non-value-added tasks, we can, as we said, do the real work instead of the fake work, and hopefully do with less employees, less staff time. And so 22 non-value-added tasks were identified. They're under review because we want to make sure that they're really not needed and just not the opinion of the employee. But an example would be every day, 20 minutes takes to raise the flag and lower the flag. And you can still be in compliance with the flag rules with a light on the flag. And for a low cost, you have to be careful not to spend a lot of money to save, but for the low cost of a light, you can avoid 20 minutes of staff time. I think it's per location. So that's an example of savings. The other, the next slide, please. A couple of other examples would be centralizing the payment for compliance violations into accounting versus having the department do the collection. It's more efficient to do it. They're set up to do that. They can do it right at the counter. Next slide, please. So we have the financial audits that were discussed earlier, but there's also a concept called internal audit, because with so many employees, the boards have to have confidence that the policies are actually being done within the organization. So we're actually adding an internal audit function that's responsible to the CEO, but it's going to fit underneath the controller department. So we've actually hired an employee for that, and part of their function would be to verify compliance with regulations. We want to make sure that we're following the rules and complying with laws. Assessing organizational risks where we're not paying attention to things that need to be paid attention to. And then also look into the standard operating procedures and make sure that they're in alignment with policy direction. Next slide, please. This came up to change to the United work hours to be consistent with the other mutuals and with the city. I don't think the changes are significant. I don't have the change, but they seem to be reasonable. The quiet time work shall not start before 7 a.m., so the working hours are going to be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., but with quiet time between 7 and 8 on weekdays and 7 and 9 on Saturdays to not disturb sleeping patterns. And there's no work permitted on Sundays or the listed holidays. Next slide, please. And then this is a list of the other activities that are not contractor or staff time, but they're still in line with those general guidelines. Finally, last slide. We have 2 town halls, outreach to contractors and real estate agents to walk them through for the new ones, and I guess walk them through changes or the process itself for obtaining mutual consent for alterations, employing standards versus getting variances, how the city permit process works, and there are some alterations that don't require consent. Likewise with the real estate forum, talking about our HOA transfer process and how that works. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. That was a great report. Any questions? Any questions? Allison?
Just a comment, Manny. Yesterday I attended the contractors open house. Must have been 100 people there. It was super. It was really excellent. Great questions. Lots of people there. Lots of issues raised. And Mike Horton and his staff, as well as the chap from the city, people from the city, did a great job. So it was very worthwhile.
Very good. Thank you. Good to hear.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Next is CEO report. So, Siobhan.
Thank you, President Ross, honorable members of the board. This morning I just wanted to go over a few updates with you. And I do have a PowerPoint that we'll put on screen just so everyone can see the information that I go over. The first item I would like to start off with is a reminder that the asphalt overlay work scheduled to take place on Via Estrada at Gate 2 starts today and runs through Thursday. Thursday's July 11th. Today's July 11th, and it'll run through the 13th, which is Thursday, excuse me. The work hours are 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Gate 2 will be closed to traffic during these times. Residents should plan to enter through gates 1 or 3 and exit through gates 1, 3, or 4. The gate is expected to reopen after the completed work each day and during non-working hours. But just wanted everyone to be aware of the work at Gate 2. Next, we have the business plan meetings, which President Ross mentioned. I just thought I would put the dates and times on the screen so everyone can see them. United's business plan review of version 2, which is occurring this week, is Thursday at 1:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. And then next month, United meets for its televised business plan review. We call this version 3, and that will be on Wednesday, August 9th, again in the boardroom here at 1:30 p.m. And again, that meeting is televised. And then the business plan adoption is scheduled for Tuesday, September 12th at 9:30 a.m. as part of the regular board meeting agenda. Also wanted to draw residents' attention to new residents orientation. This is an opportunity for new residents to learn about topics such as mutual operating rules, service requests, how to get involved in the community, and so forth. Upcoming sessions are tomorrow at 4:30 p.m., Friday, August 4th at 9 a.m., and Wednesday, September 13th at 4:30 p.m. Those meetings take place here in the boardroom, and reservations are required by emailing info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. And please include new resident orientation in the subject line. The last mulch day of 2023 is coming up. Mulch generated by our landscaping services department will be available for free for residents. This is Friday, August 25th through Monday, August 28th at clubhouses 3 and 5. Mulch events are for residents who wish to enrich soil in their private and personal garden areas and garden plots. Landscaping services will continue to mulch all common areas. I also want to provide a brief update on the Irrigation Master Control System project. This project is 80% complete, and as a reminder, is expected to save 74 million gallons of water annually throughout the village and more than $280,000 annually based on our current water rates. While the majority of landscaping irrigation is done at night, irrigation technicians are testing the new system in real time during the day. Technicians are running systems through full-time cycles, adjusting spray heads and run times to increase efficiency and reduce runoff. The goal is to reduce overspray and get the length of the watering cycles correct to reduce water waste and the costs associated with it. So if you see running water during the day, that is likely what is occurring. I also want to add a quick reminder about the Summer Real Estate Forum that Director Robledo just mentioned. Just as a reminder, the session is Wednesday, July 19th at 1:30 p.m. in Clubhouse 5. Seats are limited, so please RSVP, and the email address for that is realtorforums@vmsinc.org. And lastly, I would like to remind residents that the preferred individual delivery method for mutual documents must be selected by September 1st. This is per the new Senate Bill 392. You may email your delivery method preference to information@vmsinc.org. If you do not respond by September 1st, the last mailing address provided will be deemed your preferred delivery method for the year. And as a reminder, selecting the paperless option can save $7.50 per manner in printing and postage for the spring and fall mailings. If 12,000 manners go paperless, this would save more than $90,000 each year. So we really encourage our residents, if they're willing, to go electronic and receive their documents electronically and help us save money and help sustain our village. And with that, I will conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just had one question, Shipon. You mentioned on the irrigation system that it's going to save us a lot of money for savings in water of around $280,000, I think you said?
Yes, sir.
Is there also a credit on top of that that we're going to save money on?
We are receiving approximately $350,000 in rebates from Metropolitan Water District, and that will be applied to the cellular costs associated with the system and keeping in contact with the system.
Great.
So that's also great news.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. So the next item is the consent calendar. And so is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar or make any changes to any of the items or discuss any of the items? Dan.
Well, I know we're removing 13, removing number 3.
Number 3, right.
But there's also
Microphone.
Oh,
Yeah, microphone.
oh, I had it on, or somebody turned it on. Okay, so anyway, there is also an attachment 11B3 that I'd like removed from this packet. I mean, if it's kept that way, because it has to do with the ad hoc committee that was formed. And, you know, when that was formed, I don't know how it got put in this way, but there's negative things in there, and I would like it to be removed from this attachment. So it's 11B3.
That is the
Well,
one
it
that
just
was
shouldn't
moved.
be, it's not going to be discussed now in
Yes, it is,
in 13F, so just remove it from there, and it doesn't really, it's the formation of the ad hoc committee. So even though 13B has to do with the 2 full-time equivalents, you know, that were discussed in the ad hoc committee, I don't know why that has to be in there, because it's really got some bogus stuff.
What do you want us to do, Diane? What's your
I don't
request?
know. Does this packet stay in place as
no.
as
Let
a
Tom talk,
reference?
I don't understand.
If I can summarize what I think you're asking for.
Okay.
Is that you would like page 3 of 4 and 4 of 4 removed, that it has nothing to do with the
Yes.
actual recommendation,
Right.
is what you're saying.
That's what I'd like.
3 of 4 and 4 of 4. Can you explain that, Tom?
Well, the resolution 012230 is with what Diane's saying. It doesn't serve any purpose in this, but it's part of the agenda packet already.
It's a reference material as
Oh.
to the purpose of the ad hoc committee, since the ad hoc committee charter was approved by this board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see.
when I was ignorant
Oh, okay.
to what it was doing.
So you're only asking for the backup of
I just-
11B3 to be removed?
Just remove it,
I
just
see.
remove it, that's
Okay.
all.
Okay. So do we need a new vote for that, or?
I would suggest it be done when you consider the item. It could be part of the recommendation if that is the pleasure of the board.
Okay,
Yeah, since it's got some bad stuff in there, I would like it just to be removed.
okay. So we'll go ahead and remove that, as Diane requested, because it's back up for 11B3. So, okay.
Again, President Ross, I would ask that we address that when you consider the item and include that in the recommendation if that's the pleasure of the board.
So you're saying, how do we do that?
You would add it to the recommendation when you consider the item itself. So
Okay.
there's a formal record of the request and vote.
Okay, when we get to the item, we'll talk about that then. Yeah.
That still
So I-
remains 13F then? Thank you.
So I move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
And it's seconded. Okay.
Without objection?
Any objection? Okay, then it's approved. Okay. Unfinished business, there's none. New business. So first item is town halls, so let's talk about town halls for a minute. Did we talk about last month's town hall? What was that? Last month's in June. I think we talked about that, didn't we? At last month's
We
meeting?
talked about it at the closed meeting, or I don't know if we actually discussed it at the board.
Okay.
No.
Who did the last one?
Closed
That
meeting.
was
It was Sue
you.
Kwam, she was in
Sue,
charge.
okay.
She held the meeting, and
Yeah.
it was a great meeting. What?
If you're going to talk, please use your
Yeah.
microphone.
It's still on, so I don't know.
Tell us what was talked about and what was discussed.
Okay.
And maybe just in
Got to
general.
remember.
Okay.
It was an insurance presentation
Insurance
by a
presentation.
representative from USI
Oh, it's great.
by Zoom, and she talked about our master policies in place. And so it was looking at the mega level of our insurance, our grand insurance plan. And of course, incidental to that was the HO6 policy that always comes up for individuals to cover. But we were talking about the mega policy and the fact that we don't yet have our premium in for next year, but as far as what it might be. But it was well received, lots of people there. And, you know, lots of people, I think, are keenly tuned into insurance issues. There's been enough in the press, for goodness sake, that everybody is pretty well aware.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great because the presentation was a Zoom from the presenter.
Right.
And it was so nice that the staff worked so hard to get that working well.
Right.
And she was able to answer questions from the audience, and there was a lot of questions. People were really concerned with the insurance and what our coverage, does for us. So it was very good. Thank you.
I heard that Jennifer did a good job on the presentation from UCI.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And she happens to be our broker now, currently for United, to see what she can do to get us the best rates that will start in October for us for our new year. So we're anxiously working with her, and hopefully she can come up with the best rates possible. Then as far as this month's town hall, who is leading that?
Yeah.
You?
Thomas, what do you?
No, actually,
Go ahead,
it was discussed in the agenda prep meeting, and it was going to be Tony with alterations for the next month, and then the loans for September, because the loan resolution will be on the 28-day approval, if approved today, so it won't be finalized.
Well, I think it might have been changed a bit because this month is landscape.
Right.
This month, we're having a landscape town hall.
This Friday.
And then the next one is alterations, and then probably.
Right, I was talking August and September,
Oh,
sorry.
okay, perfect, August and September. Yeah, so the one that we're having in July, which is this Friday, is landscaping. So, anyway, please come.
And I did receive, regarding landscaping, I did receive a letter from one of our members, and I'll pass that on to you, Diane. But it's a letter indicating that he would like to help out with whatever he could as a resident if they form any kind of a task force or ad hoc committee or whatever to help us with landscaping. And he was very interested with his background to see if he could support us. So I'll give you a copy of that letter. Yeah. And then the following, then August is planned for alterations, is that right? Yeah. Okay. And maybe we should consider September being the conservation of energy. If we pick out a couple months from now and see if we could, what do you all think of doing a combined town hall with Third and come up with a plan to talk about how we could maybe expand solar, how we could conserve energy, how we could work to attack the ever-increasing cost of electricity. I think all those things are very valid and very needed. So what do you all think of that?
I think it's a great idea. I think we should do it. Maybe we could talk about it more in the closed meeting too, because I know Azar, wants to talk about her loan program. But I think it's a great idea, especially if it's a combined town hall, in the pack. That I think would work out good. Oops. Now I'm too loud.
Maggie.
Yes, I like that idea. That affects everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's go to item 13B. First, a motion to approve is a revision to Architectural Standard 1, General Requirements, July initial notification, 28-day notification. So we need someone to read the motion. Would you like to, Tom or Allison?
I was just going to say, I believe VMS was going to introduce these motions.
Yes, we have Bart Mejia and Michael Horton in the audience. Can one of you please introduce the item? Thank you, Tom.
Okay, 13B is the motion to update and amend Standard 1 for general requirements. And as Director Rublato had showed on his PowerPoint, it directly is relating to working hours and parking for the contractors. This is the biggest update.
Should we review the motion then, or did you want to review the recommendation?
The recommendation is that the Board of Directors approve a resolution to revise Standard 1 general requirements.
Would you like me to read the pink page?
Well, or, okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Go ahead, Maggie, you can read.
Okay, Resolution 0123XX General Requirements. Whereas the Architectural Controls and Standards Committee recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the general requirements are and should remain the same for all standards, now therefore be it resolved August 8, 2023, that the Board hereby adopts Standard 1 general requirements for all standards as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further that Resolution 01-1857, adopted June 12, 2000, 2018 is hereby superseded in its entirety and no longer in effect. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written. I move this resolution.
Okay, seconded by Diane. Okay. Any discussions about it? Maggie?
I just have one typo correction. On page 12 of 14, for 1.10, contractor staging areas. Staging areas must be no larger than 20 by 20. I prefer that to longer than 20 by 20.
I'm sorry, rephrase that.
It just says staging areas must be no longer than 20 by 20. I suggest it say it be no larger than 25. I mean, it's not material, it's just a wording thing. That's the only thing I've found.
We can make that change.
I agree with that.
Thank you.
Any other changes? Okay. All those in favor of this architectural standard 1 to be approved, please raise your hand. Vidya, what's your vote? Yes? And everyone, it's unanimous. Azar, are you in favor?
Yes.
Okay. So it's unanimous. Okay, next item is where are we at? 11C. And we just did that, right?
13C
No,
is,
one has to do with the patios and balconies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
13C, okay. Okay. Okay, so next item is 13C. It's the entertain a motion to approve revision to architectural standard 15, floor coverings, exterior balconies and patios. July initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360.
there is no pink page here. Do you want me to read page 7 of 14, or is that the one that is
I have-
superseded?
Please see page 13 of 14.
Yeah, I can read it. Yeah.
Okay.
Allison, go
I
ahead.
have
Good,
it
good.
in my
I don't have
package.
it.
Resolution 0123.XX, revised alteration standard 15, floor coverings, exterior, balconies,
Oh,
and
that's
patios.
all in one.
Whereas,
Sorry.
got it? Okay, okay. Whereas the Architectural Controls and Standards Committee recognized the need to amend alteration standards and create new alteration standards as necessary, and whereas the Architectural Controls and Standards Committee recognizes the need to revise alteration standard 15, floor coverings, exterior. Now therefore be it resolved August 8th, 2023, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions to alteration standard 15, floor coverings, exterior balconies and patios, attached as part of the official minutes, and resolve further that Resolution 01-18-105, adopted September 2018, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written. July initial notification, should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution, allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpone the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the postponement, to comply with Civil Code 4360. So this has now been read into the minutes and moved.
Do you want to make a motion to approve?
I move to approve it.
Okay, seconded by Meg. Okay, any comments about this one? Any changes to it? Okay. So all those in favor of the motion to approve revision architectural standard 15, please raise your hand. And I think it's unanimous. Azar, are you in favor?
Yes,
Okay.
President Ross.
Okay. So it's approved. Okay, so we now need to see if Jeff's available. Is he, oh, there he is, okay. Good morning, Jeff. Can you hear us?
Morning, everybody.
Yeah, we can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're about to take on 13D. So this is the entertain a motion to approve the recognition agreement for non-institutional lenders, July initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with civil code. So in this one, who's going to read the pink sheet? Allison?
Okay, thank you. Resolution 0123-XX, recognition agreement for non-institutional lenders. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors carries a fiduciary financial obligation of the corporation, and whereas United Laguna Woods Mutual Bylaws, Section 3, Article 3, Section 1, provides that prospective members unable to satisfy financial requirements may be approved for membership if another financially qualified person enters into an agreement with the corporation to become financially responsible for expenses associated with such membership, and that other person meets the financial requirements established by the corporation. And whereas a guarantor agreement has been developed to comport with Article 3, Section 1 of the bylaws and has been in use for many years. And whereas on June 27, 2023, the United Finance Committee approved the United Recognition Agreement for non-institutional lenders whose purpose is to research loan options and examine current policies restricting the use of private loans. And whereas prospective members currently have 2 avenues available to satisfy Laguna Woods Mutual financial requirements. 1, they may qualify financial on their own merits with or without a loan from a qualified financial institution or non-institutional lender who have entered into an individual recognition agreement with the corporation. Or 2, they may obtain a guarantor who meets the financial qualifications established by United Laguna Woods Mutual from time to time. Now therefore be it resolved, August 8th, 2023, that Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the United Recognition Agreement for non-institutional lenders as attached, and resolve further the resolution of 01-16-107 adopted on November 8th, 2016 is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. July initial notification, which this is, should the board endorse the proposed resolution, staff recommends that a motion be made, seconded, to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpones the resolution to the next available board member no less than 28 days from the postponement to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move this resolution.
I second it. I second it.
Our second. Okay. Any discussions about it?
Yes.
Okay.
President Ross, may I give a little bit brief introduction to this?
Point of order here.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Azar.
Thank you. I wanted just to give for residents that hearing and they are not there, and people that they have been there, what this committee did. The Private Loan Research Ad Hoc Committee was established 4 months ago due to requests of multi-residents who came to the board and requested for permission to have a right to get loan from private lenders for unplanned expenses like medical expenses, as well as to be able to buy units in United Mutual. The committee carefully included 4 experienced residents who each has had a great background, more than 30 years, in financing, banking, director of private institutional lenders, director of loan department in different banks, and also underwriting loans. Committee members met weekly and received, revised, and corrected multiple times any items on the recognition agreement of private lending to make sure United Mutual Benefit be the first position on any possible situation. The final draft on May 24th was sent to the United Legal Counsel for final review. Today, the presented recognition agreement for non-institutional lenders to the board has all corrections that our legal counsel recommended. This is in the package that you can see. Thank you, Mr. President. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Azar. Maggie?
Just a couple of differences between the red line and the final resolution, and Jeff, I'm glad you're here. Okay, just these are little page 5 of 22 comparing with 12 of 22. On 5 of 22, on the recognition agreement, it's number 2, which is now number 3, or 3. It says the corporation has issued to the borrower, will issue to the borrower to be held. Let's see. Will issue held by escrow or another third party agreed upon between lender and borrower is in the red version, but it's just by a third party. Does that make a substantial difference, Jeff? Should we say escrow or another agreed upon third party, or just call it a third party?
Sorry, can you tell me what provision by you're looking at, Maggie?
Okay, I am looking at the attachment 1 recognition agreement, the first page in the red line version compared with the first line, the first page in the black edition, the approved edition, the one that we want approval.
Jeff, it's item 3 on page 5 of 22 and item 3 on page 12 of 22.
Right.
Okay, let me pull that up because I just have the agreement in front of me and I was looking at section and numbers. So I'll pull
Up 3 of 22. And yes, 3 says, oh, yes. Okay, notice over there. Yes, okay. Okay. It's 2 crossed off, now number 3. And the black wording is not exactly the same. This says, will be held by escrow or some other third party agreed between lender and borrower. The new version says, or will issue to borrower held by third party. It doesn't say agreed upon third party, it doesn't say escrow. Is it material that it say escrow or agreed upon third party, or is it just okay to say third party and cover it all?
Jeff, can you hear
I
me?
think
Jeff,
the
can you
way
hear me?
Who has the floor
Yeah.
here?
Let Jeff answer the question.
I have to explain to Jeff a sentence, Mr. President. Jeff, we contacted escrow, 2 escrows during the meeting, especially the 2 of them that is near the here, Granite, and then other one. And none of them, they accepted as be a holding to the certification. They said this is too responsibility for us. And that's why we just said it, rather than escrow, a third party. I want Jeff knows about that. We contact both of escrow that is here. And that's why it said just as a general, a third party. Could be escrow, could be United. So
Well, who will it
I
be
want
if it
tonight-
isn't an escrow?
Okay, so let's
Sorry.
let one person speak at a time. So Maggie, do you have a question about that, or?
Yes, I'm saying, it says escrow or another, we could say another third party. And this one drops off the escrow and held by a third party.
Okay, so we've gone over that. Jeff, do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, I'm a little confused because I'm looking at the screen and the new paragraph 3 says to be held by escrow or some other third party agreed between lender and borrower. I'm comfortable with that language that's in there. I still see the escrow in the draft.
Right.
It's,
The Maggie version doesn't have the word escrow.
Mr. President, may I talk?
it
Point of order
does
here.
not.
All right, one person at a time. So, Azark, do you have an explanation?
Thank you. Yes, can you, okay.
Here we go.
Jeff, I wanted to see that because in this one was escrow or a third party, is not mandatory escrow. As I mentioned, I connected, two of our members connected two of the escrow near the Laguna Woods, and they said they will not accept that one. So the word of escrow, just for that reason, deleted and just the third party. If you wanted to add escrow, emphasis on that, or any escrow company wants to do that, we are prefer that one. Is up to that, but escrow can be a third party too. So a third party is a general word for everything. Of course, your view is more important for us. I wanted you have this information, Jeff.
Okay, so let's
Yeah,
let Jeff go.
I'm seeing now in a different version from what my red line changes have, and I am more comfortable with the words escrow or third party.
So it just says it's
In
redlined
the
now.
in the version in front of us, the word third party is capitalized, but it's not defined.
Right.
I
Okay,
defined it in my red line changes.
So let's go.
Okay.
so Jeff, you're comfortable with the way it's written on page 5 of 22? Item 3, you're comfortable with the way it's written now? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
The version up on the screen right now that I'm looking at.
Okay, Diane.
Well, I remember this issue coming up in the ad hoc committee, and it was an important issue. So the fact that it's in this red line, the information showing us what's changed, and that it's missing from the recognition agreement is serious, because how many other things are missing?
Well,
Okay, Tony?
I have,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'm not a lawyer, and reading through this thing, I got, my eyes were burning. So I'm going to contact a lawyer I used in North Hollywood to help me understand this. In the meantime, the one thing I'm not satisfied with here is I want some kind of a process to screen lenders. I don't want to be part of somebody coming in here and ripping people off and have us associated with it. So there has to be some screening process or some kind of protocol for lenders to be qualified. And that's, and the rest of it, I'm going to, there's a lady in banking that's going to help me, and there's a lawyer I used in North Hollywood that's going to help me try to understand this. And there's a word in there I've never seen before. They refer to curing debt. I never heard that before. Thank you.
Lenny, I have
Maggie?
2 other things.
Okay, go ahead, Maggie.
Okay, on red line, page 3 of 7.
3 of 7.
Right. And that's compared with page 14 of 22. on the new one. The red paragraph that was notwithstanding the provisions of the corporation, that paragraph is dropped out of the new version. The red paragraph is completely missing. Did you mean for it to be included, Jeff?
Can you, I'm sorry, I only have my red line version.
Okay, the notwithstanding paragraph on section terms, number 4, it's after C.
Do you see it's on page 3 of 7, Jeff?
Yeah, you're close.
It's item right below 4C.
Corporation transfer of membership.
Siobhan, did you have
Wait.
something?
Yes, may I make a suggestion? We will work off of the red line version that Jeff prepared, develop a new clean version, have Jeff review both versions just to make sure everything is accurate. This going back and forth is really difficult, I think, at the dais. If you would allow staff to do that, that would be helpful.
I think we're...
Mr. President, can I add something?
We're going to be voting for this, so we need to understand if there's any questions relating to this, so...
Yes, it's going on 28-day review,
It
though.
will go on 28 days.
Yes,
but
so we could
have
do
to-
this quite quickly if that is the desire of the board.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Well, first Diane. First Diane.
I would also like to include some kind of a process where our members are informed about the loan that they're getting into and understand it completely and understand that the money that's being borrowed has to be paid back. And so if somebody else is taking the money, I mean, they just need to be informed. This is a serious thing that they're getting into, and there should be some kind of consulting on that. So,
Cash.
I think I agree with her very much. We will be liable if there is a loan left. If we hold that property, if we hold the property under us, then the United will be liable to pay that loan to whichever bank has.
No.
Yes.
No.
Zahar, did you have something to say?
Yes, Mr. President, first of all, let me respond to what Siobhan said. Siobhan, both of these, the red and the black one, is sent to Erica, and Erica corrected all of these red one through the black and clean. I wanted everybody to understand that this is not something that missing or something that I hear, unfortunately, one director trying to mess with that. Both of these absolutely was under the VMS staff in the finance department, and Erica did great job and change all of the red one to the black one clean. If there is a typo, you see it, there is perfectly to say there is nothing that missing or goes against. You can absolutely vote. I am 100% agree to vote it to exactly word by word what legal counsel said in that red. We can vote in that manner. So it be exactly. That's number one. Number two, what you mentioned about the loan is between lender and borrower. United does not want get between lender and borrower. That's between them. So United, we as director should just protect the benefit of United, which we did it, and Jeff Bowman completely review all of the aspects. I want to be clear about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to make a statement and ask Jeff to respond to this. There's an existing document that's a recognition agreement of non-institutional lenders that's already in existence. This is a modification of that document, and it basically seems to give the lender the right of the member in certain circumstances when the borrower is not fulfilling their responsibility. Is that an oversimplified version, and can you tell us what else is in this document that we should be aware of?
That's a great question. And this draft in front of us has a provision that is specific to that point. So I'm glad you brought that up, because this document that we're looking at does say that if a lender forecloses, they cannot have the same rights as the shareholder with respect to voting, using the amenities, things like that. We don't want lenders coming in, right, after a foreclosure. If a shareholder defaults on their loan, we don't want a lender thinking now they have membership rights. But it says that doesn't mean you relinquish your obligation to maintain the unit and to pay assessments. So that's clear too in this agreement, that they still have, as a lender, if they foreclose and they step in the shoes of the shareholder who defaulted on the loan, they still have a continuing obligation to make sure the unit is maintained and that all assessments and related charges are paid. And that's clear in this agreement.
And do you have any concerns about this agreement that you'd like to express?
No, other than I would like to review it to make sure that the red line is consistent with the final, only because I'm looking at, the first page, we saw the escrow provision that Maggie pointed out was not incorporated. And I just recommend that you have me make sure that all other changes have been incorporated as well.
All right.
Paul, do you?
I just want to invite the board, we do have one member comment at this time, if you're ready.
From who?
One member comment.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you. Manny Robledo, Unit 280PE, speaking as a member. I think this is a good thing because of the insurance issue, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are prohibited from issuing loans in the village. This would open up to, say, my mother, my rich uncle, anyone with money could be a lender. And I think in the spirit of protecting members, I think it would create too much of a burden for an uncle or a mother to loan money. I think that the work that was done here by the ad hoc committee was excellent. I attended several of the meetings. They had lenders and underwriters on the committee, and we had legal counsel review. So the resident is protected because they get the money. The resident gets the money. The lender gets this piece of paper saying that United is first. So United is in first position. The lender's in second position. So that is not good enough for Fannie or Freddie, but it's good enough for my mother or my uncle. And I think to put an overly burdensome qualification process for someone who is willing to be a private lender, I think it's something that it defeats the whole purpose. So I think the board in 2016 had good intentions by saying, okay, that's it, no more private lenders. But there was an alternative. You could go to Freddie Mae, Fannie or Freddie. But now there's no alternative. This opens it up not only to private money from family members, it could be residents within the village that are interested in loaning some of their cash in their bank and making 6% on their money. It's secured with a mortgage. And that's the wonderful thing about this is it's a secured loan in first position. Well, you're second to United, but it's first loan position. And I appreciate that you don't want people getting taken, but you can protect them too much. It's like saying we're going to have an approved list of contractors to do work. Well, we got rid of that because then United is in the middle. When you say, oh, here's a lender, then United is liable. But right now it's between the borrower and the lender, the mother and the son. Anyway, that's my comment. And I hope that this gets moved forward. It's something that's needed. It's something that is needed not only for purchases, but also for people who need equity. They're house rich and cash poor. This would allow them to get some money. Thank you.
I have another word or two. Should I just send my corrections to someone? Okay, I'll do that. And then at the next time, we'll have a cleaner version and we'll know. I'll do that, okay? Thank you.
Well, I just want to talk about a scenario that came up before this committee met, and it was somebody who contacted me, and he wanted to, open up a loan to with a third-party lender to take out $150,000 of his 92-year-old father's property, and to help his father or whatever. But I mean, this is just something that we have to be careful. We do have to protect our members. They're older. They might not know they're getting into something, and then they have to make these payments. So I know we have to look at, well, what's good for all, that we have the ability to make a loan. That's important. But how do we protect people that are vulnerable? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like a point of information for our CEO. Do we have any idea how many people can't qualify because they can't get a loan? I mean, are we having trouble filling vacancies with cash customers?
We're not hearing of any major difficulties, to answer your question.
Although when NCB was loaning to our community, about 1/4 of the sales were financed through NCB. And then when that was cut off and it became all cash, we had no choice. So now with this, there'll be two choices. There'll be the choice of going through an institutional loan company that would sign a recognition agreement, and a non-institutional person, aunt, uncle, whatever, who would support the loan. So we're trying to facilitate more opportunities for our residents to be able to not only refinance, because right now their money is all tied up, they can't refinance. They can't pay for hospital bills. And so this gives them an opportunity now to take money out of their property for emergency medical expenses, which they haven't had in the past. And they have been requesting this from us for several years now. So we need to give them some help, but also for people that want to borrow money to pay for our manners too. There was, like I said, about 1/4 of the people that when we were supplying loans through NCB did get financing for co-ops. So that's kind of where we're at. Any other questions, Pearl?
My question is, now, suppose we have this private party making a loan, and if the resident fails to make a payment, and they have to proceed with the foreclosure, right? Then they become an owner. The lender take over the property.
Yeah.
Now, when they see, I was told, like, when the couple purchased the property, and if they decide to get a divorce, when they bring the legal papers that the divorce is finalized, then depends on who takes over their property, they have to go through the process of becoming an owner, qualifying as an owner. Right. So now in this case, if the third party foreclosed on the property, then the resident is out of the picture. We have to deal with the party that did the foreclosing.
Well, there's a question for Jeff, I think.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is there are and the good part of this whole movement is that we make the cash available to the resident who needs the cash right now, and they cannot go to the institution. But there are other side is that there would be many complicated situations that we have to be prepared to face that we haven't faced before. So I think we need to discuss, in case of foreclosure, that our position to deal with this foreclosed party, and we have to, this party has to go through the process of becoming an owner or qualification. I mean, those are my concerns.
Jeff, do you want to respond to that?
Sure, I'd be happy to, and they're legitimate concerns, because if you where not allow loans, period. One of Leisure World Seal Beach is all cash. They don't allow any loans in their community. Never have. That's one scenario. The other scenario is only allowing institutional loans like you have in the past with NCB. Now that that's not available, you in essence are not allowing loans going forward. Without loans, it's much cleaner, right? You're not faced with those difficult scenarios that may come up, and they do come up from time to time, where there's either someone passes away, or there's a divorce, or there's a dispute amongst heirs. And when there's a loan in place, it just makes it more difficult. But you have to weigh that with the benefits of opening up money to prospective shareholders to come into the community and buy a membership interest in a unit. So there's definitely pros and cons, but you have to look at what the benefits of opening this back up to the public to take advantage of money that was otherwise allowed to be used to buy into United. And with this agreement in place, certainly puts United in a much, much more secure position if you're going to start allowing loans, especially non-institutional loans, and take away that possible threat where someone's going to come in, loan hard money, and the shareholder defaults, and then the lender comes in, takes advantage of a shareholder, and advantage of United, doesn't pay assessments that are owed, and then who knows what they do with the unit. And here we've got control over that through this agreement. This agreement does provide certain controls and mechanisms, but it to your point, it does not resolve every issue. There are going to be issues that are going to come up that we're going to have to work through because we're providing this service. With every service, it just definitely increases staff time, and there will be scenarios that'll come up that we'll have to work through.
Okay, Azar, did you have something to say?
Yes, Mr. President. Regarding to what Director Lee says, I am asking, did Director Lee read all the items in this one? There was 10, 12 of them, and we discuss in weekly meeting how possible might happen the things that Director Lee says, and we prevent that one. She mentioned about that she's worried that the lender become a owner. No, the lender must go, if you read it, the items through the all restriction. First of all, is the lender is 55 years old or not? If is financially is, all of the requirement for the owner must be passed, and if he wants at the end buy the unit as a new member, sure, but must go through the direction of the United. We consider and we discuss this one over and over. And I agree with every word that Jeff Bowman says right now, Mr. Bowman, that this is way protected better, the benefit of United compared to the past. So there is always, and Jeff again mentioned, always there is a possibility something happened that in future that we might not know. But with the knowledge that we have, possibility that we have, we consider all of them because the members that was in the committee each have 30 years background of that, and all of them brought many different situations that happen in their works. And based on their knowledge, we prevent that might not happen here. So I want all of you know that this is not something that overnight we write down and bring it. It was a deep discussion for all of them. And there is no changes from what Mr. Bowman sent to the Africa. And if there is some typo, we can vote exactly based on what our legal counsel suggested. There is no problem with the suggestion of the our legal counsel. All of them based on what the red one, you voted on that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Video.
Okay. So I'm a little confused about the discussion about the divorce part of this discussion. We are talking about a third party giving out a loan, and then sometime down the line, people get a divorce, and that's the concern? Is that what we are talking about?
I don't know. I don't remember who brought that up.
I mean, would this situation be any different from if you have a loan from some bank that was previously in place and there's a divorce later on? I mean, divorce would follow the community property laws and all of that, and you'd get the couple would work out their differences. So I'm a little confused how this is any different. Why are we bringing divorce into this?
Yeah, it would be no difference whether there's a divorce or not a divorce. It's between the lender and the borrower.
Right.
And they would handle that situation independent of United. That's between them.
Correct.
So it would be handled just like a bank would handle a loan with any other client, whether it be a divorce or not a divorce. Doesn't matter.
Or if there's a death and there's an outstanding loan, it's the same situation.
Same situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Lenny, can I respond? No,
Go
my
ahead, Pearl.
quick response is
You're next.
when I mentioned divorce, I meant when there is a change of ownership. If two people bought a property and one is no longer on the title, then this person who now is entitled, he's under his the one person's name instead of two, and in that scenario, this person has to go through the qualification process. So what I meant was, if the loan was foreclosed, then the person who failed to make a payment has no right. The person who foreclosed on the property became like a new owner. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but there's no qualification process, correct? It's a change of ownership, and it becomes a solo owner.
Yes, and that sole owner has to qualify.
Qualify for what?
Oh, like a new buyer. Yes, there is.
Why? Why would they have to qualify as a new buyer?
Well, because when the couple bought the property, then they qualify together. Now the income situation is different, and the person that's left on the title has to be qualified by, yeah.
Okay.
So that changes a little bit. That's what I meant.
Let's not try to debate every single issue, but Diane, do you have
Point
a
of
point?
information, Mr. President.
Yeah, go ahead.
Point of
Well, with
information.
Diane has.
I go.
Go ahead.
Anyway, the way we had it now with NCB, the board would get information that there was going to be a foreclosure. And so then we would look at, we were presented with a comp on what the property was worth, the different realtors that were interested in selling it for a discounted fee or the price that they would try to sell it for. It doesn't appear that we're going to be in control of that anymore. It seems like that's just going to be between the the lender, and he's going to sell it. I mean, this is just what I'm hearing from the meetings I went
Why
to.
don't you ask Jeff that question?
Okay, and then the other thing is, I forgot. All right, well, go on. Let's hear from
Why
Jeff.
don't you get Jeff's response on that?
And I could not question, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The right of first refusal, I think, that's
Well-
what you're asking.
We used to, in the past, we would have someone present the foreclosure and what realtors were interested in selling it, what the value of the property was, the comps, and then we would decide which realtor to go with. I don't think we're going to be in that process anymore, but the way we were with NCB. Is that true, to your knowledge?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been involved in the process followed or procedure with any foreclosures by NCB. I've been involved in our own foreclosures for delinquent assessments and membership termination proceedings that resulted in the sale of a unit. But in NCB, I've never actually been involved in foreclosures involving them. I know in this agreement that's in front of us, it says that if a shareholder defaults, we have to notify. If the shareholder defaults on the payment of assessments on our end, we have to provide the lender notice. And then the lender has a right to either correct that default and pay assessments or not. If they don't, then we can go forward with foreclosure. If the shareholder defaults on the loan, then we have to be notified of that. And we have a first right of refusal before the lender goes forward with foreclosure. We have a right to come in and actually satisfy the loan and sell and take over the unit and sell it ourselves. If we don't exercise our first right of refusal, and it depends on the market and use as it's prudent or not, but at least we have that option in this agreement. If we don't exercise it, then the lender can go forward with foreclosure. And once the foreclosure takes place, it either reverts back to the lender, and then the lender has the obligation to maintain the unit and pay assessments, and then sell the unit. Or during foreclosure, it'll be sold to a bidder, a winning bidder, and then that person will come in, and then they own the unit, and then they have to apply for membership, right? Or they have to sell it to someone that's qualified. And so that's the tricky part about foreclosures. Just because someone buys this through foreclosure doesn't mean they automatically are entitled to membership. They still have to qualify.
Is it Allison?
Mr. Chairman, is it time to amend my previous motion that in order to move this whole process forward and this discussion forward, that we ask Jeff Beaumont, our attorney, to take another look at documents, get them all into conformity with red line to final, so that we can move this forward with amended and proceed as the board so desires. So I move to amend my previous motion, depending on those factors.
Okay. Is there a second by Dan? Okay. Let's talk about that. Is there any discussion about that?
Yes.
Excuse me,
Yes.
could you explain the amendment? I'm sorry, it's interrupt the internet. Could you explain what is the amendment?
I think we're tabling.
Well, go ahead. Why don't you explain it, Allison?
Yes, I just proposed to amend my previous resolution, the motion to proceed with discussing and approving the documents pending Jeff Beaumont's review of the red line versus the final, getting everything into conformity, correcting any typos, so that next time we talk about this subject, we can move forward and have these issues cleared up. So essentially tabling it until Jeff has a chance to do another review.
Okay. Any discussion? Tony?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think the proper thing would be to make a motion to refer it. Because if you lay it on the table, you're supposed to
Yeah.
deal with it as soon as possible.
Well, yeah, we do want to do
I
that.
think you make motion to refer it to committee or refer it to the attorney. I think that would be more correct.
Okay, so
I'll stick with table because I really would think that there's a demand in the community to move this forward.
But if you put something on the table, it doesn't go on there for 28 days.
Well,
So
procedurally,
you
tell
would
me.
suggest referring it to our attorney?
Motion to refer it to wherever.
Okay.
Back to the committee.
So why don't you revise your amendment to refer it to Jeff Beaumont?
Okay. I revise my revision to refer the matter to Jeff Beaumont to draw the red line and the final into conformity with all typos corrected, bring it forward at the soonest possible. Thank you.
Okay, and it's seconded by Cash. Maggie?
In this reconsideration, I find in here no qualifications for the lender whatsoever. If NCB was a professional lender, professional lenders are professional lenders. This could be anyone, and they could end up with 10 properties within a year. They could end up with 10 properties and have no official qualifications or legal standing whatsoever other than what we have signed here. I don't see anything. Our guarantors have a sheet that they have to fill out. Our guarantors are just talking for backing one loan. These people is backing without any piece of paper here explaining who they are, how they are qualified to this. This is not a professional loaner. It's a neighbor, it's a friend, it's a relative. How do we know that we should approve this person as a lender?
And let me answer that, because we don't want to be in the middle of United recommending loan companies or lenders, because then we take responsibility for those that we propose that are good lenders, that we feel are qualified lenders, and we don't want to get into that responsibility ourselves. We made a concerted decision that the members will make their decisions on their own to see who's going to borrow, who are they going to borrow from. It's not going to be something that United is going to propose or recommend, because then we get right in the middle of causing, if there are problems, there's going to be possible lawsuits against United, and we don't want to have anything to do with that.
So,
Tom,
so we will be unprotected from inexperienced, non-professional lenders without any qualifications that we know of. We know nothing about the lender.
Jeff, I'd like to clarify something, and then I know we also have a couple members waiting to speak too, Lenny. But first of all, officially, we're talking about the stock certificate here, the membership certificate.
Right.
And secondly, is there any difference between an NCB-backed loan or a private loan as far as the process goes?
Oh, great question. And as far as the process, there's no difference. And you're right, what we're talking about is not the exchange of real property, but an interest in real property that's secured by a stock certificate and the signing of an occupancy agreement. But the lender here has a security interest in that stock certificate, right? And so under California law, that's the equivalent of having property interest, and a lender's security to that stock certificate is valid. Regarding, what we've done with NCB versus what we're doing here on paper, no difference at all. How a private non-institutional lender will conduct themselves in the event a shareholder breaches or defaults on the loan, how that non-institutional lender will interact with, how they proceed with foreclosure, how they respond to our demands when we assert our rights under this recognition agreement. I don't know. That's question mark, right? NCB has a proven track record. They've been loaning to stock co-ops throughout the United States and many communities I represent, and they know what they're doing, and they're federally backed. So that's a secure option there, and it's unfortunately not an option anymore for United, but that's the difference. So if everybody's questioning, well, what are we really looking at here as far as going forward with this non-institutional agreement and bringing in non-institutional lenders versus NCB, that's the difference. NCB is professional. They're a federally backed institution. They specialize in loaning in stock co-ops, and we have a track record with them. Who comes in and loans, how they're going to conduct themselves, we don't know.
Okay. Paul.
Yes, we have Dick Rader for member comment.
Dick Rader, 270D. I think it's really important to consider preparing a document that would accompany any request for a private loan. In particular, it would address potential issues or thoughts. And one in particular would be, it would say that United, in approving a private loan, is not endorsing the lender. And these sorts of things need to be spelled out to the person obtaining the loan, and it should accompany any of the documents prior to approving the loan.
Good point. Any other comments? Okay, there's a... oh, yeah, please.
Robert Tucker.
Thank you. I'm Robert Tucker at 268 November. I was on the ad hoc committee for the loan approval, and as Lazar said, we spent numerous hours debating and back and forth trying to protect the association. And to address a couple of questions, someone said about the lender owning 10 units. You can only have one ownership in United. That's it. So that avoids that concern that a lender's going to have 10 or 12 units. And second of all, they don't have any rights. They just have the certificate. They cannot vote. They cannot use facilities. They have to maintain the property. They have to pay us. So, private lenders, we designed it basically to help our members out in an emergency. Medical, family, whatever the issue is. We didn't design this to have them buy units, even though they could, but that was not our intention. Our intention was to help the community. We have members who are in need of finances, and this would alleviate some of that with a private lender, family member, or any other person who's willing to lend them money. I can't tell you how many hours we spent going over this, trying to make sure that we protected the association. As far as protecting the members, we debated that ad nauseum because we all felt that that was something we wanted to do, but we want to keep the association separate from that decision. We don't want to make decisions on interest rates or on terms or on anything else that would cause us to be brought into that transaction. We want to keep that separation. So I agree it's going to be, there's possible some challenges, but the benefits far outweigh them. I can answer any other questions on this at all if there had any questions about it. And you do have a right to cure a loan, okay? It is a very valid statement. A little background, I've been 20 years in the mortgage business. People cure loans all the time. And in the latest NCB foreclosure that happened on one of the properties, in the disclosure, it says, before you bid, check the qualifications. Do not bid if you don't qualify. It is in that document when you have that notice of foreclosure. Okay? Any questions? Or
I have a question. Now, also, I understand that you put a lot of work and make sure that the corporation is protected and stuff. But have you also taken into consideration that we're dealing with 85, 90-year-old client? And, that there is, I can see the benefits of having these lenders brought in. And at the same time, the people that are interested in bringing the lenders in, they are all alert. They know what they're doing. But we have tons and tons of people. They don't know what they're doing.
And that is not, I don't care what age you are. There are a lot of people that don't know what they're doing. I have a 93-year-old neighbor who's sharp as a tack. He brings me to the stone all the time. But so we can't make those I think we need to be reluctant to make those decisions on someone's behalf because we don't know all of their ins and outs. And if we start getting involved with that, we bring ourselves into liability.
And also keep in mind, as was said before, that if there is a foreclosure, we have the right of first refusal, right?
That is correct.
So that means that we can refuse, we can take over the property ourselves.
If we feel there's some injustices, we can go ahead and take over. And there's no money to be made, I mean, on a foreclosure. No one's making any major profits. A potential buyer who could, yes, but as far as the lender or the association, we want our money. That's all we want back. And any excess money goes back to the borrower. Okay, at the end, if there's excess money, it goes back to the borrower. But everybody's fees and associations and loans get paid back.
Go ahead, Cash.
I'm looking at number 3 on page 5 of 22. No escrow company is a company that exchange the paper for the money between the buyer and the seller. They are not in the process of holding properties. And we have that word here in number 3. And I don't think that's correct. That's my main issue. Thank you.
We didn't, Mr. Chairman, I think we talked about this earlier, and that it'll be one of those items that Jeff corrects when he goes through the reconciliation of red line to black line.
That's exactly what I want to point out.
Okay, so if there's any comments on changes that you recommend as board members to Jeff, please send them to Jeff soon, like within the next week. And so Jeff will have a chance to review it, make any changes necessary, and bring this before our board at the next meeting. Okay, is that okay? Is that agreed by everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So we still have a motion on the table to do that. Can you remind me of your motion?
I don't remember.
It was,
Just that we're,
What the motion was?
yeah.
or can you read it back, maybe?
Yeah.
Can I, Mr. President,
Zara,
can you
go ahead.
recognize me? Thank you. My hands was up a lot, like half hour. I have a question for Mr. Bowman. Mr. Bowman, you check this one, and like, I don't know, 2.5 hours that you sent it. And do you think you need, again, a check to what you did, what you write down, what you corrected? Because my request is, if there is a typo that maybe Erica by chance did it, because we sent what Mr. Bowman sent to us directly goes to hands of the finance department, and they type it. So in that case, my question is, do you think, Mr. Bowman, you need to again correct what you corrected?
Well,
Okay, let him answer.
I'll answer that real quick. I don't need to correct what I corrected, but I have 2 observations. One is I'm looking at the drafts, and the final draft that is being put before the board for approval is different than the draft that I marked up. Some of my changes are not in the final draft before the board. That concerns me. And I just want to make sure, because of the significance of this document and being a legal document, that it is absolutely accurate as to the last draft I reviewed, and it reflects my comment. So that's the first observation I have. The second observation is something like this, the board is going to discuss and consider and vote on. And I think that if there's comments that are made during the meeting that deserve attention, I don't think it should be rushed, and I think things should be thought through, different scenarios, different concerns. And so I've been taking notes and considering what everybody has been saying. And so that, that's much different. When I go back to a document and look through it, having the board's input and comments, I look at it a little different I don't know, something may come out where I may look at it and say, you know what, that was brought up and I think that could be addressed here. And there may be some prudent changes that will be needed, minor, but I don't think there's nothing that needs to be done to undo what I've already done. I'm comfortable with the document as it is, but there's been some good input that I think should be considered when going back and taking a final look at it.
Okay, Diane?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I wanted just to know
Wait,
that your
wait,
board-
Azar,
Okay, Azar,
wait.
Diane has the floor now.
Yeah, so one of the things, on page 5 of 22, on number 3, it's not a typo. It was omitted, and it was omitted because she couldn't get anybody to do the escrow. So it was omitted. It was overlooked. And that was, Jeff wanted that in. So anyway, this is more than just typos.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a right to answer that one.
Okay, go ahead, Azar.
Okay. This is not, I wish the knowledge of some people were a little bit better before they talk about this. This is not the escrow, you didn't understand. The escrow not accepted the transaction. This is not what we said. This is about the holding actually we are as the United, we talked with Pamela Pamela was in all of our session, and it's more safer that we were thinking that probably getting a safety box and all the certificate, if there is a few, like 20 or 10, 30, whatever, stay in the bank under the provision of the United. That was the whole issue that says the third party. And escrow can be third party. Any places can be the third party. The name third party doesn't have. And even you read what Mr. Bowman says escrow or third party. So or, I hope you understand what does mean or. So third party could be included escrow. Nobody put it against escrow. If escrow wants to accept, I said we contacted the escrow that we contacted didn't want it to accept. I hope their knowledge be a little bit better. Thank you so much.
I think Jeff had some very good, valid points that he wanted to review this document in light of some of the comments that came in from our board. And he's looking forward to review. And for our board members, please go ahead and send your comments to him. Itemize which items they are, what your concerns are, and send them to Jeff. And try to do that sooner than later so that he'll have time to review them in light of all the other comments that came in today. And so that by the next meeting, we'll have a clean version and a red line version with taking into account all of your comments. Okay.
Based on your comments, Mr. Chairman, procedurally, I would like to withdraw my previous motions, plural, and instead move to postpone this resolution until the August board meeting pending legal review.
Okay, is there a second by Dan? Okay. Any other comments before we go to the vote? Maggie?
One minor comment. I was at a meeting and Pam Bashline was not there, so that wasn't quite right. But regardless of that, I agree with this motion. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay. Tony, you abstain or against? Okay. Azar, you're in favor? Okay. So this is going to be submitted to legal review. And
Yes.
during the time on the next week or so, please, like I said, send your comments as board members on what your concerns are to Jeff and let him review them, make any changes necessary, and this will come back to us at our next board meeting in a red line and a clean version. Okay? Okay, next item is that's 13E. Entertain a motion to approve the investment advisor selection July initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with civil code. Okay, we have a pink sheet. Allison, would you want to read that?
Yep, okay. Resolution 01-23-XX, recognition agreement, I'm sorry. I wanted to read that one again. Investment advisor selection. Whereas June 27th, 2023, the United Finance Committee approved a recommendation to enter into agreement with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank Investment Advisor to provide investment management services for United Laguna Woods Mutual Corporation, thereby authorizing the investment of funds on behalf of the corporation. And whereas United Laguna Woods Mutual 2023 investment policy provides guidelines and limitations for the responsible management of cash available for investment, which applies to all financial assets of United, including all cash and investment accounts, both discretionary and non-discretionary. And whereas that all investments on behalf of this corporation must be made with the underlying principles in the following order of priority: 1, safety; 2, liquidity, where applicable; and 3, yield. And whereas that the board of directors of this corporation hereby authorizes to retain an investment manager and to give that manager discretion to transact purchases and sales of investments. Such discretion is subject to the underlying conditions as stated in the investment policy. And now, therefore, it be resolved August 8th, 2023, that Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves entering into an agreement with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank to provide investment management services. Resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. July initial notification. Should the board endorse the proposed resolution, staff recommends that a motion be made, seconded, to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpones the resolution to the next available board meeting no less than 28 days from the postponement to comply with Civil Code 4360. So read.
Okay.
And so moved.
Okay, is there a
I second that.
motion?
I second that.
A motion to approve the resolution?
I second that.
Okay, it's for,
Well, I seconded.
Yeah, I moved it.
okay, and it's seconded by
Yeah.
Diane. Okay. Any discussions about this?
Yes,
Go ahead, Mary.
I have a question. If we are employing somebody, usually we require 3 or a couple of people to bid on it. I don't know if we have to do that in this case or not. If we do, then we should word this differently and put it over and here from 3. If it's going to be a contract, then that will be done in a closed session. So I'm not quite sure, and Siobhan is not here to help us. I'm not quite sure. I'm not against this, but I'm not quite sure what the, thank you, please.
If I may, just to give you an idea, we did have an investment ad hoc committee take a look at those, and we had 4 presentations come through, so we did get that bid from 4 different presenters. We did have a variety of smaller to larger come in, and in addition to price, services were considered, and the investment committee, the investment ad hoc committee took a look at all those things already.
So we do have paperwork to cover that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we do.
That's what I was going to say. I saw those, and I was at those meetings. There's your cheat sheet.
Yeah, there was a one-page summary chart, very detailed, which listed all the different presenters, all their different rates, and it was very comprehensive. And let me tell you that Azar did an excellent job in negotiating those rates to most competitive, and so I wanted to thank her for doing that. And Chase definitely was overall the best, the rate they offered us, the best rates possible, and that's why they were selected, and the best service as well. And so with that, I'm going to go to the vote. All those in favor of this recommendation, please raise your hand. Okay. All those opposed? Any abstain? Okay. I also wanted to suggest that on this particular motion, now that it's passed, that it does not have to go to 28-day notification because it doesn't affect any operating rules. And it's especially important for it to start right quickly because we have staged laddered T-bills which need to be adjusted, and we have our financial controller that's out for the next couple of months. So we'd like to move that, and I've already spoke to Jeff, and he said that was fine, that it doesn't need to go to 28-day notification for this particular measure. So Jeff, do you concur with that?
Yes, I do. The civil code and the 20-day comment period applies just to operating rules. Sometimes we still follow it because it's good to have the members review certain policies and procedures. But for the most part, we do only go through the 20-day comment period for the adoption of operating rules. This would not be necessary in this case.
Okay, thank you. So let it be known that this now is passed, and it doesn't need to have 28-day notification, and it's officially approved as of today by the board. So thank you all very much.
Mr. President?
Azar.
My hand is up. Yes, because this is the last task of this committee and basically is done. I want to deeply thank all of the 4 members that helping me during months and months. Now it's about over 6 months that we were working on that. The 3 tasks I want residents knows that was first one last November, changing right away the investment that since there all the time we are receiving money and our interest is going up and up. And number 2 was creating a policy that United didn't have. It's a very complete policy, and hopefully by following that one, we never goes through the direction that we were in 2021 and 2022. And then the 3rd one was selecting a advisor, which was today is passed. I want on behalf of committee and board and thanks these committee members deeply for the time that spent and share their knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to move on to next item, item 14.
No, 13F.
Or 13F?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Right.
missing something.
It was 11B.
Okay, 13F was 11B. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I
And
would
I'm
like.
going to go ahead and drop, everybody, unless you need me. Anything
No,
else?
thank you, Jeff, and we'll see you in closed session.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
I'd like to move to postpone this item to the United July 13th special open meeting to review the proposed business plan, since this item reflects almost a $2 per manor increase, and it's got significant cost implications that hasn't been looked at it by the Finance Committee. So I'd like to see this moved to the budget meeting 2 days from now, and that would be my motion.
Okay.
I have a discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, as of May, we have less than half of what the whole year was. So, I mean, in 190 is May. May is the 5th month, okay? 706 was the last year. If you double what we have in May, that'll be 10 months. And it's certainly not going to get up to 700. It's only going to get up to 380. So have already received 190 tickets. They should have received more than that if we're going to 706 that I can see. So I have questions about that anyway. Thank you.
So your motion is to take that to when? To the
2 days. 2 days from now at our budget meeting.
Okay.
to our budget meeting, okay. And it was it already approved or was disapproved at our finance meeting?
It never came to the finance committee.
Finance meeting, okay. So all those in favor of moving this to our budget meeting, please raise your hand.
We actually have member comments. Sorry about that.
Can we a member comment talk before we go to vote?
Yeah, well, we already voted, but go ahead. Do you have a comment, Azar?
Yes, I wanted to know that why this should not come to the finance before we go to any other meetings. If it is $2 per man or per month, it is a finance involving. Is it some reason that I am missing?
Okay, Tom, do you want to explain?
Azar, I would agree with you, and because we have a budget meeting coming up, I thought that would substitute well enough and keep this moving along so that there wouldn't be a big delay.
It's not about delay, it's about discussion and then reviewing and ask questions, and the budget meeting is already packed with other stuff because they don't let you more than 2 minutes talk about anything.
All right, so we have a motion, and let's go ahead and take the vote to have this discussed at our budget meeting coming up in 2 days. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay. All those opposed? Ours opposed. Anyone else opposed? Okay. Abstain? Okay.
I am against. I think it should go to finance. So put my name for the record.
Against. Okay. So it's going to go to the budget meeting. Okay.
I'm sorry. The members still want to speak. Is that okay?
Who?
The members still want to speak on this item.
Oh, okay. Who was?
Ann Beltran?
Sure.
Hello again. I won't be able to attend the Thursday meeting, or I would save my comment for then. But since I'm here, I'd like to give the comment at this time, which is that this request is intrinsically tied, in my mind, to the Urban Forest Management Plan, which is going to be a legacy accomplishment of this board when that is ultimately approved. It's a successful resolution of the Canary Island pine issue that caused so much protest. And as that has moved forward, we're at the point where we have a very satisfactory draft of that plan that addresses the tree issues for the next decades. However, what we have left out of that at this point is the fact that there were passionate, significant comments from members who are concerned about tree litter and who are concerned about safety on their walkways. And I don't think we can claim a full victory with the Urban Forest Management Plan unless we recognize that it's urban, that our forest is urban, and that people's complaints that were heard throughout this long process were valid, that there are safety issues, and that what it's going to take is more staff in the landscaping department to provide that kind of more frequent maintenance of the grounds around the trees that are the litter trees. And that if we do that, then we have really scored a huge victory for everyone in the village in protecting what will be the most distinctive marketing feature of this village over time, and at the same time protected residents who have disability and safety concerns. So I just would like you to review that at the Budget Committee with that larger picture in mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're done 13, I think. So on to item 14, which is director comments. Anyone have any director comments? No? No director comments, okay. Committee reports. So let's go to Azar with the Finance Committee. Azar, are you still there? She's today?
Yeah.
Today. Third MNC meeting. Oh, well, we can't go. Can't go.
No, we have to be out of here.
Oh, I see. Okay. Azar, can you hear us? So we can't hear you. Are you still there? I don't know if she's still there. I don't know if she's there. All right. Well, I'll go through it. I might as well. As best as I could, the financial report, until Azar comes back, shows assessment revenue $20,552,000, net revenue after expenses of $1.2 million for the period through May 31st. Next slide. Assessment revenue of $9.882 million, with an operating surplus of $545,000, excluding depreciation. Next slide. The income statement shows assessment revenue of $20,552,000, the $428,000 variance, non-assessment revenue $893,000, the $95,000 variance, total revenue $21,445,000, the $523,000, total expenses $20,198,000, the $857,000 variance, and net revenues of $1.2 million with a variance of $1.3 million. Next slide. Employee compensation is our biggest cost center at $860,000, and investment income of $239,000, outside services of $208,000.
I'm sorry, I just back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you. So you
I am
can.
so sorry. It was internet until I get back. So sorry about that.
So-
So you are in, I am
Page
guessing is employing. Okay.
Yeah, page 5. So you can take over now.
Page 5. Okay. On this pie chart that we can see, non-assessment revenue earned to date is 893,000, and revenue is organized by category, starting by our largest revenue gathering category, which is investment income, and followed by fees and charges, laundry, and so on. If we can go to page 6, please. Thank you. On this pie chart is exactly the same that we can see the expenses date is 20 millions, 20.1, showing that our largest category of expenses is of property tax and employee compensation followed by that. You can see the other one, the biggest after that is insurance and utility and materials and supplies. So with the slide 7, we're going to have the same. However, we're just getting the same expenses excluding the property tax. So you can see, therefore, the employee compensation jumping as the highest here. So let's go to slide 8, which is our fund balance that shows here the contingency fund balance on May 31st was 1.1 million, contribution collected totally 31,000 with no expenditures today. So the investment review collected totally 5.2 million while expenditures were 4.5 million. The property tax fund balance you can see on May 31st was negative, was a deficit of 585,000. Contribution and investment revenue collected total 5.6 million, while expenditures 5.6 million as well, for that matter. So for the slide 9, we will see, we compare this to historical fund balance for the past 5 years on this chart, which have average of $19 million. The slide 10, which is the last slide, we always compare in this slide resale history from 2021 to 2023 through May 31st, 2023. United resale total 136, which is 74 resale lower than the prior year for the same time period. The average year-to-date resale price for a United Mutual was $368,000, which is $14,000 lower. Actually, is a good portion that you can see the sales and the price is dropping now. So that might be one of the option is we don't have any loan that people coming. That's one thing. That was the report for that. And regarding to two next ad hoc committee, today by voting for the advisor, investment advisor, I am announcing the closing of the finishing the job of investment ad hoc committee. That for 6 months we work on that, and we are waiting for the review of Mr. Bowman regarding to private loan lender, and we talk about that in the next session. And that was my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item is report of the architectural controls, Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to refer you back to our consent calendar, and that's basically what we did in the architectural control meeting. The two standards we dealt with, so I won't bore you with anything. And our next meeting will be Thursday, July 20th. That's all I have for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the member hearings, Director Lee.
We will have a membership hearing committee coming Thursday, 2 days from now. So I do not have a report today.
Okay. And then report of the governing documents, Director Blackwell.
Okay. Yes. Yes, we met on June 15th, and we met several times after that. We discussed the sublease application and decided to send it to legal counsel, and he did. Then we discussed the current sublease package, and we made a few cosmetic changes, not of any substance, and we put that over. We will be meeting on the larger policy will be coming up soon, but we are meeting on our next meeting is what next week? Is Thursday, July 20th at 1:30, and that will be essentially about meeting procedures. Committee meeting procedures. Thank you.
The next item is Landscape Committee, Director Casey.
Yes, we met on August 28th, and we also had an ad hoc committee meeting too. I'm saying August 28th. No, I'm saying June 26th. June 26th. And then we also had an ad hoc committee on June 22nd. And so, we went over the urban forest report and made adjustments to some of the comments in there, adding a lot of input from the ad hoc committee. And also, Kurt gave a very good department head update. And in that is where we made a recommendation from the ad hoc committee to employ 2 additional employees to sort of clean up debris from all kinds of things, that are on the ground and that could cause a problem. And then they would go back, once all that was done, they'd go back into the landscape crew and work with the landscape crew. So it would just be a monitoring system on a daily basis. So our next meeting is going to be postponed, so we will not have a meeting in July, and the next meeting will be August 28th. Thank you.
Thank you. The next meeting is the report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee, and I was there. We didn't really discuss anything new. We did discuss some items relating to bringing us hot water more quickly, but the cost of doing that was prohibitively expensive, and it would have cost new programs involving millions of dollars to do that. So it was decided that there was no interest in pursuing those options. But other than that, Allison, were you there at that meeting? Was there anything else that you could recommend or you could remember?
No, that was mainly the topic of getting hot water faster when you're in the kitchen or the bathroom was something that had been kicked around for a while. And as President Ross said, it was just exorbitantly expensive to do that with 2 different amplification systems that they examined. So end of story.
And then the next meeting will be August 23rd. Next is the United Resident Advisory Committee, Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Resident Advisory Committee is, of course, we deal with personal issues of residents, so we don't talk about it here in an open meeting to preserve their privacy. But it's a good committee. It's in the Elm Room, thanks to Director Lee. So it's not in this room. There's no time limitations on people, and we just let them tell us what's on their mind. It's a good committee, and our next meeting is this Thursday, July 13th at 4 p.m. in the Elm Room. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next is the GRF Committee highlights. The report of the GRF Finance Committee, Director Ascari.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, GRF Finance meeting on June 21st, and the highest news for that one that is all GRF investment thankfully now is in Treasury bills, the way that United has, and it would be very unfortunate to see all of these transactions cost about $2 million, close to $2 million lost for GRF. And if there was a sharp action for the few first months in 2022, would save $2 million for GRF if they were awareness of the relation between increasing interest rate compared to investing in the mutual funds. But anyway, as they said, call it paper loss. It wasn't paper loss, and it was real loss. The second one was they are talking about a donation of some computers to the PC room that was accepted. And also now they discuss about a veggie pots rental, that there is a boxes that they can stand and plant it, which is $50 per year per box. And also there was talk about a stop sign and crosswalk on Avenida Sevilla and Via Mendoza that discuss about that, sending to the committee. And the last one was approve of a pricing rate change for electric vehicle charging station. And that last one was a short for now to 6 months, and they are going to review again and send back for the new pricing. This was all that we discussed in the last meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Next is the GRF I'm sorry, skip one. Report of the Community Activities Committee.
Yes,
That's Director Lee.
yes, CAC meeting was rescheduled to July 17th, so we haven't had a meeting yet, so I have no report at this time.
Okay, thank you. Report of the GRF Landscape Committee. Director Quam's not here, but you have something?
Yeah, he's here, yeah.
Please. Okay.
So they met on May 10th, because it's every other month. And the next one is going to be August 9th. But on May 10th, they did accept a motion to work on the GRF gate re-landscaping, and it was passed unanimously. And there was department head update and an update on the Aliso Creek, which you could probably watch on Granicus if you're interested. And yeah, so that's it. So there is another meeting coming up in August 9th.
Okay. Next is GRF Maintenance and Construction Committee, Director Bach.
Yes. Yeah, this was kind of interesting. A lot of routine matters were handled. I think one of the interesting things that came up was the fact that there's, in the archery range, there seems to be a concern about a beam, an overhead beam, that's showing some signs of wear or deterioration. So they'll be keeping a close eye on that to see if that is salvageable or what can be done to remediate that spalling, or not spalling, but twisting that's occurred. Checkering, I guess it's called, is the right name. And then benches along the sidewalks. There's a bench relocation project going on to make sure those benches that are out of the path on the sidewalk and into the lawn, so that access is not prevented. People in mobile wheelchairs or walking and so on. So that's it. Next meeting is August 9th.
Okay, thank you. And Clubhouse Facilities Ad Hoc Committee, is that the same one or that's a different meeting?
Mm-hmm.
That's you, Allison, as well.
No, I don't have any report on that one.
Okay.
No.
Report of the Media and Communications Committee, and Director Quam's not here. Was there someone else at that meeting? Okay. Maggie, do you have any notes from that meeting? Uh, 16E. No notes? Okay. You have anything, Maggie?
Yeah, those are closed meetings.
Oh, they were closed?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's go to the report of the Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Director Bach.
Yep. We met, and they are moving forward with the previously approved schedule of vehicle purchases. They've identified a source of shopping, so to speak, that would augment the efforts of our own purchasing department. It's a group called Sourcewell, and they apparently work with a lot of municipalities around the country, as well as not-for-profits and so on, in locating vehicles and trying to get favorable prices, more favorable than might otherwise be had. And so a contract has been, an agreement has been signed with them. It costs us nothing to use their service, and we'll see what happens with that. Otherwise, the previously approved vehicle purchase program is going forward. Three Ford F-350s, which are electrical vehicles, have been approved, and he's going forward with that. Thank you. Next meeting is August 2nd.
Thank you. Next is the Security and Community Access Committee, Director Blackwell.
Okay, we're updating the camera quality in the RV lots so that we can read the license plates better and identify trespassers. We're talking about the fading crosswalk paint and so on. We will be having the slurry program, so there will be some repainting, but some of our crosswalks need to be painted. I don't know if that will slow our drivers down or not, but it might. The disaster preparedness office has moved. It's now in a security location next to the Laguna Woods Community Center. So they've moved out of the back office way back there by the elevator, and they're going to have so that you can buy emergency equipment and supplies and things there. They will be moving that there at the new location. The RV lots only have 36 vacancies, which is good, and people will be coming and going all summer long now. We have 3 noteworthy incidences which are not good. There's a DUI outside the community. That's one of our persons. Crossed the median in multiple lanes, colliding with a GRF exterior wall between gates 7 and 9. A non-resident lost control of their vehicle with a pregnant passenger on Paseo de Valencia, breaching the GRF perimeter wall. No injuries, thank goodness. And then a resident lost control exiting gate 9 and struck the gate ambassador's parked vehicle and hit the gate, causing damage to both. No injuries were sustained. So these are 3 serious accidents which happened in the last month or 2. I hope that's not a sign of what the hot weather is going to do for us or something. I don't know what it is. So we need to be slowing down again. Everybody slow down. The bike patrol program was somebody suggested that we revive it, but Officer Nunez will look it up again. It could be a beneficial program, but we'll have to look at how it is, because he is unfamiliar with it because he was not here when that was in. So we did have a bicycle patrol program, but that means they're very slow getting from one place to another. I mean, if they're going from gate 1 to gate 6 or 5 or 7 or something, that takes a minute or 2. So we won't have that. We don't have it now, but we'll probably reinstate some of it around the central areas. The flashing stop signs are again a gate. And we are talking about the gate arms appearance and crosswalk damage and repainting assessments. Our next meeting will be on the 28th at 1:30.
Okay, thank you. And then Laguna Woods Village traffic hearings, Director Ackercott.
The traffic hearings were held on May 17th. The next hearing is on the 19th of July at 9 a.m. in the boardroom. The illuminated traffic signs, stop signs, are helping. People are slowing down.
Okay, good to hear. Okay, then report of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Mr. President. For your enlightenment, that meeting was held on June 5th, my birthday, but I showed up anyhow. And we were discussing the different plans that we have in case of an emergency of some type, an earthquake, a fire or something. And since it's a task force, it's headed up by Staff Eric Nunes, and he does a fine job. And our next meeting will be here on July 25th at 9:30 a.m. And if you want to get briefed on what we're prepared to do in a disaster, please attend. It's an open meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the Compliance Ad Hoc Committee, Director Blackwell.
Thank you. Yes, we are still working on the member disciplinary hearing procedures for GRF, and we're getting closer and closer. We're going to consult with the GRF legal counsel to update the timely processing of member discipline. So we don't want to be dragging on this. It's too late to talk to somebody 3 months after their incident, so we're going to try and speed that up. And we're working on the monetary fines again, and the disciplinary violations and nuisance policy and harassment, and see if we can get after the people quicker than before. We're going to have some recreation club requirements that will may refer people to us as a GRF committee. So this is only GRF discipline of errant behavior on its GRF property. And our next meeting is July 14th at 9:30. Thank you.
Okay. And the last one is report of the Information Technology Director, Casey.
Yes, the meeting was on June 30th, the same day I got married.
Congratulations.
Shall we sing?
In the morning at the the Laguna Hills Civic Center, and then I had lunch at BJ's with family and friends. So I did not make that meeting. And Sue Kwam is now on that committee. So, and they don't have minutes, but normally what it is, it's an update telling us, the progress they're making with staff and procedures and software. And so the next meeting is July 28th, which I will be there.
Okay, thank you. And then future agenda items were items we already discussed today, so I'm not sure if these need to be deleted. Or is that something that we need to discuss further? Because these are architectural standards that were approved. So we could eliminate these.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
President Ross?
Yes.
That is a holding place for staff to know what needs to come on the next agenda.
Okay.
But we will take the investment advisor selection off.
Okay. The investment advisor, yeah, though that will come off. But also those revision to architectural standards will come off too, because they were dealt with today.
But they're on 28 days.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Okay. And recognition agreement for non-institutional lenders will stay on. Okay. Okay. That concludes our meeting. So we're going to go to recess at this point. It's 12:30, and we'll open our closed meeting about 1:15. So thank you all very much for attending. This meeting is adjourned. Recessed. Sorry. Recessed.